Okay guys, today we have news on Saints Row 5. Now if you haven't played Saints Row 1 through 4, they are amazing games. You should all go check them out. They're pretty cheap. The games are not that old, but affordable in this year. And now that Saints Row 5 is confirmed, the release date is speculated to launch in 2018 with advanced gameplay and graphics. Again, if you do want this website, I have a link in the description below. So before anything, if you do enjoy the video, be sure to like and subscribe for more content on this channel. So if you don't know, the first Saints Row game did come out in 2002, which pulled in some gamers across the world. And then Saints Row 2 to come out in 2008, and Saints Row the 3rd 2011, and the most recent, Saints Row 4, releasing in August 2013. And as we all know, now it being 2017, that was 4 years ago. So I'm pretty sure it's time for a new Saints Row game. And since they just confirmed it, most likely, not confirmed or anything, but it most likely will be released in 2018, which will be 6 years since the previous game, which is not that far off, considering that each year that the games was released, there was a time span of like 4 to 5 years. So if you don't know, Saints Row 4 had an expansion that was called Saints Row Get Out of Hell, which came out in the month of January last year. Going by the trend, followed the expected Saints Row 5 might just come out in the year 2018. It could well be delayed 2019 or 20, and that is particularly because of the fact that in collaboration with High Voltage Software has just kicked off the development of the game. 2018 can thus be expected to be a probable release date of Saints Row 5, but the possibilities of the official release getting postponed to 2020 cannot be ruled out completely. Regarding the gameplay, there is enough room where Volition might just have a look into the making of the development, and that could well be the graphics, which entailed a number of complaints. The gamers will be looking forward to some changes in the missions, which have been regarded as much mundane by many. Also, the gamers across the world would love to see the length of the combat missions getting cut down and made a much crisp and more interesting, but very little has been known regarding what is going to be actually the gameplay of Saints Row 5. So I could agree with this, because if you have played Saints Row 4, it was just a problem in Saints Row 3 and 4, not really the first two. But basically, each mission, the game was pretty good, to be honest. Like, it was a decent game. Nothing like, major, top seller or whatever. But it was a pretty good game. The only thing that did concern most gamers was that some of the missions, they did, take like a very long time to do. And as soon as you start the mission, it's pretty fun, but then after like half an hour of just doing like the same thing, it does get kind of repetitive, and it started to get boring. So hopefully in Saints Row 5 they do fix that, and the missions aren't as long but not too short, so it would be a good time frame to play the missions and enjoyable. So the Saints Row 5 plot and storyline. Besides this, it could be said that they would look forward to keep the storyline as interesting as much as possible. One of the biggest pluses that Saints Row 4 has is bizarre storyline, which has attracted the gamers a lot, and it is expected that writers of the game Saints Row 5 are definitely going to make it as much interesting as possible. The setting needs to be a bit more realistic, as most of the open world games do not have an urban setting. Expect that they might bring in these changes in Saints Row 5. So that would make most sense, because if you did play Saints Row 3, it was a pretty good game. They were in a city, it was very realistic, but not, to a certain extent, basically. If you have played this game, you would know what I'm talking about. And then Saints Row 4, I don't really know what happened to begin with. They just went completely overboard and they just went a completely new route. And, they had the alien and you had superpowers. I'm not complaining. I enjoyed the game a lot. It was a really fun game. But it's just, it was like, the game was highly unrealistic. But if you think about it, most games that are not realistic are, the most fun games. Because if you have like a really realistic game, it does get kind of boring, because that's what, it's too realistic to the point where it's not really that fun. But, just a little bit more realism in Saints Row 5, and that would make the game a little bit better. So this game is reported to be available only to the users of Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. Considering that 360 and PS3, most developers of any game company have said that they aren't really making any more games for the 360 or PS3, just the old consoles in general, because they cannot handle these new games. But that was confirmed a long time ago, so it was pretty obvious that it's only going to be for the One, PS4, and PC. So that is all the news that we have right now on Saints Row 5. If this video does do well, I will probably be making more videos on Saints Row 5, considering the storyline or release date, anything of that matter. Also guys, be sure to check out my Walking Dead videos on this channel. I'll have them linked on the screen right now. They've been doing amazing recently, and I'll be making tons of more Walking Dead videos. Thanks for watching guys, and see you in the next one.